Good morning, homeschoolers. Welcome to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel. Today is a Saturday. I'm not really prepping anything except for maybe my mind. So let's do a prep and chat as I prep myself for the upcoming week. And stay tuned, I have a gift for you. Yes, I made us something. Okay, so usually by the end of the week, I end up with some sort of pile. Are you like that? There's just something you want to look into more, maybe a resource you're kind of processing, like I want to take a deeper dive at that when I have a chance. You want to plan for the upcoming week. You need to maybe record some things, all kinds of stuff. Maybe you bought some things, you're like, how am I going to incorporate this into what we're already doing? So let's just go through my pile and we'll talk about some stuff. This was my Mother's Day gift from my oldest son. Every morning I get this out. It makes him happy to see me drinking my coffee out of it. I just hear this. I hear this in the Trump voice in my head, and it's funny. This was my Mother's Day gift. For my birthday this summer, he got me a blanket that looked like a giant tortilla. It's like he takes my favorite things, like coffee, drinking coffee, and warm, like soft blankets, but then he gets the funny version. Anyways, but the funny thing is about the tortilla blanket is in the Amazon ad, because I looked at it later, it looks huge, right? But it was so much smaller. Like it looks like on the model, it looks like a full-size blanket, but it's actually like on me, it's like a shawl, a tortilla shawl. And it had little eye covers, so you could have like a tortilla patterned, you know, like sleeping mask. Anyways, I told him he could have it because he was wearing it around the house anyways. I'm like, you can have it. It's so funny. Anyways, middle school boy humor, right? Let's get into the pile. First off, let's just start out with a free gift because that's always fun. I hate when they make me wait to the end. A student planner. Ta-da! So I've been working on this for a little while. I've been wanting to do a student planner. You know, you guys know I have my planner that I use, my binder system, you know, and I just love having a permanent planner. So I invested in this beautiful leather embossed binder from Etsy. I got the full size, like the biggest one. I want to say it was like around $70 or something like that. But like people are spending $50, $60 a year on planners. I cannot. I'm not a wealthy lady, okay? I got a quality longevity. So my solution is just have a binder system and then an undated printable planner, and you've seen that in lots of my planning videos, and then each kid has their own. I just put a tab, like this is Everett section, William section, Bo section, right? And I've got some stuff in the front that like whatever. Anyways, you know what I printed out to put in my binder today is something from the RC Facebook group. There is a gal in there who has like shared so much good stuff. I don't know if I should even like say her name because people haven't chosen to put themselves on the internet. Like I don't want to, you know. But she wrote a letter called Dear Newbies, and like I think years ago, and I came across that post and I converted it into a PDF and I put it in the files in the Facebook group. So if you've joined the Facebook group, which you can join the Robinson Curriculum official Facebook group without buying the curriculum, because maybe you're interested, you want to hear what people have to say, see how they're using it. There's a ton of good things in the files page. This letter she wrote that I made to a PDF, and I like highlighted certain sections of it because it's like common questions. I just printed it out because I'm doing some thinking. You know, I call this RC Plus. I printed it out to help myself, so I'm going to be working in my own planner today, and I'm going to refer to this to help me through some of my decision making. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that, and I put that in my binder. I'm going to talk just a tiny bit about how things are going so far with our Apologia Science courses that I'm doing with Everett and William, so 7th grade and 3rd grade. And I need to think about what to do after, like if you are on the RC track and you've just been doing the copy work and stuff. And I just did a whole bunch of series on the McGuffey readers and how you, both the original and the revised. I'll link them for you down below in the description box if you missed them. And I talked about the writing component, how I would pair those. But that's really kind of like through, I don't know, 6th grade or so. Maybe you can, maybe through middle school you could stretch, you could work with those resources too. But there is another writing program that I do like, and I'm using it with Everett right now. Sometimes I have like, multiple curriculums that I really, really like, and it's like, ooh, which one? But then I realize I have 3 kids, and they don't do everything the same. Like everything's not exactly the same. I personally want to have like basically one set curriculum that I use for all the kids. I need to simplify things in my own. I cannot every single year for every single kid come up with a whole new curriculum. Like I can't do that. It's too much. It's not efficient. It'll cause me so much stress. We need to be able to invest in some good resources and then pass them down. Like it's also an economic thing, like especially in this economy, right? Like we all I'm sure are like watching our budget. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about, I'm thinking through I'll show you. Bo finished my first copybook, his kindergarten curriculum, and he's moving into my 3rd copybook. So I'm gonna I had him do like the first day, I'm just kind of thinking about like what will the next steps be, but I wanted to show you some of the cute stuff he did. I just want you to know that you can make your own curriculum. Right? Like you don't have to go buy box set stuff. Like you can create your own curriculum. Like I did my own plan and basically created my own curriculum for my kindergartner, tons of our writing stuff. There's just a lot that you can just do based on knowing your children and troubleshooting and then just going from there. I guess I have a reverse. I feel like when I started out, I was like, somebody just tell me what to do and then try to make that work. And now I'm like, well, let's do something and see how it's going, and then see what we actually need. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like my mindset has kind of shifted. I think we all start there, and it's nothing wrong with like using somebody else's plan or like buying a curriculum, because I will say from like buying curriculums, like I was like, well, I know what I don't like. But I also found some stuff that I did like. I honestly feel like less is more in homeschool. So that's my thoughts on that. Anyways, so let's do the fun thing first. Let's do the student planner. Okay, I am going to leave a link to this down in the description box. This is free to my viewers, and I'm giving you guys this in a thank you for getting me to 800 subscribers. I get so excited. Every time I get like 1 new subscriber, I'm like, yay! It makes me feel, I don't know, it's like, it's a party. It's like another person's coming to the party. Let's look through it. Obviously, as a principal, I did invest. My comb binder broke. I think I'm gonna try to fix it and give it to a friend. Well, my husband's gonna fix it, let's be honest. I went ahead, I invested in a spiral binder. Just want you to know, those of you that helped me out over in my Etsy shop, thank you. I was able to buy a spiral binder. Thank you. So they are quite a bit more expensive than comb binders and the spirals themselves and stuff. And I, like, you guys, I ordered it and it took like a couple days to get here, and it was like a kid waiting for Christmas. I just kept looking at my window, looking at my porch. Is it here? Like, when I saw, like, I got a notification that it had been delivered, I like ran to my front door. I was so excited. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm sure I'll do a review of it. If you guys are interested in seeing a review of the spiral binder or like how to use it, leave me a comment and I'll make that video for you. So the student planner, it's gonna just print off as one document, so you can, chop that up however you want. But I just printed out the cover I made. Of course, you can have your kids make any cool cover they want, but I just did this one. I did do it in like, grayscale. I put a piece of craft paper just to back it. This is chipboard. I bought, because I just bind so much stuff. I think I talked in another video about it, but if you have a full-size notebook, just like a spiral notebook, you know, like the lined paper that your kids are done with, just rip it off the back, the chipboard that comes with those, and then just cut off the like kind of rough edge and reuse it. I was doing that first. I've just ripped off all the backs of all the notebooks. There's no more backs to any of the normal notebooks. Well, once they were done with them, you know. Okay, so page 1 is student info, right? And then if you wanted to do grades, there's a spot to do final grades down there. I made this in mind with, you know, maybe middle schoolers and high schoolers in mind, although I think I'm gonna have my, but elementary schoolers could totally use it. I'm still keeping track of everything, but this is part of my training of like getting them to plan. Okay, so the next 2 pages are curriculum pages. I only needed to fill out 1. So we have Bible, math, reading, writing, science, and history, and I just filled out what curriculum we're using, and then, you know, as we cover new stuff, we'll just add it in. Like, I know we're going to do more Bible studies, but I'm not sure how many we'll get through this year, so I'll just write them in as we do them. Do you guys ever have those nights that, like, you wake up at, like, I don't know, like 3:30 or 4 a.m. and you cannot go back to sleep? That was me the other week, and I came downstairs and I made this. It's called my bookshelf. And I think there's like 34 books on that shelf. So yeah, I included that, and it's so that they can color one in every time they read a book, and then there's a book log that goes along with it. And I actually had to print out 2 for William because he's reading his books, his like free read books so fast. So this is the one, so I have 2 for him in there. This is the one he's already been coloring. Here's his book log so far. This is just July and August. Wait, maybe June, July, and August. I'm gonna do a video on our free read shelf. Right, it's right here, see it? I'm gonna do a video on that here. I might even film it today, but I'll get that out to you soon. I've kind of like fallen off my library tour track. I think just because I was doing so many other things. Okay, then I put a bunch of assignment log pages in. So whatever subject it's for, say it's like, you know, science assignment log, or I don't know, history, whatever assignments you're having to do, or reading, or whatever, writing, they'll just put in their assignment, the date it was completed, the total, and out of. And so that'll help you with a final grade if you're doing grades. If not, sometimes it's just kind of nice to get them in the habit of being record keepers, because it's satisfying to see all your assignments in one place. Like, I think it's satisfying for me anyways. I'm like, look how much work you've done. And if you are doing grades or evaluations, it's nice to kind of see, especially if they're improving, to see that number going up. I always try to stress, like, I don't really do grades yet, but I'm always just trying to stress that we do look over stuff, we do kind of correct things or evaluate things, and it's just a tool. I'm always like, it's just a tool, it doesn't matter, it's not a reflection on if you're a good student or if you're smart or anything. It's just to tell us what to work more on. Then it gets into every month. So I did a whole like 12 months in here. There's like a month planning page. And they can just fill that in. And then there's a notes to self. And that's just at the beginning of every month. I figured just let them, whatever works for them. I have 4 weeks of this. Every week is a 2-page spread, right? And there's room for, so there's 6 days, and there's room for 7 categories, or 7 like subjects. We usually have 6 subjects, and then the last column is for activities. So if they have some activity going on the day, so they've got youth group or trail life. Yeah, I like to have them be in the habit of learning to incorporate multiple aspects of their life. Like, it's all part of your day, it's all part of your week. You kind of have to look at your week as a whole, and it just does that. It just repeats for 12 months. That's it. So I wanted it to be nice and simple and easy to print. So, and what's nice about making your own binder for your kids, if there's extra things that you want to put in there, you can. If you want to print off a book list, if you want to print off the RC book list so that they just have it, just print it off and put it in the planner with them so that they can see as well, or whatever, you know, kind of book list. Or, I don't know, I always like just feel like when I look at planners, there's always so much extra stuff that I'm like, I don't need all that. That's just like extra stuff to be confusing. Let's just keep it simple, concise, effective. So that was my plan for this, and it'll be in the description box for you. This is kind of random, but this reminded me about it. I'm going to show you guys how we set up our book stands at our homeschool table. I know this has been really helpful to us. This is our book stands. I'll put links to these for you. And they're metal. I got these off of Amazon. And why do I really like it that it's metal? I'll show you. Because we have our timers. And they're magnetic. And I do this. Ta-da! It's keeping things together, right? Then I bought this. Oh, I really like this. It is adhesive and it's a pencil or pen holder. Because I was so sick of picking up pencils off the floor constantly. My back, I've got back issues. I'm like, please don't make me pick up any more pencils. It's driving me nuts. So when the kids are done, they just put their pencil back and there's no more rolling around off the table onto the floor. Speaking of pencils, my favorite erasers. Do your kids do this? Do they always stick their pencil in there and like turn it into like feet and try to like walk them across the table and stuff like that? I really like these erasers though. So usually it lives right there. And I've got our favorite highlighter set. Every kid got their own this year. And I just took it. This is actually Everett's book stand. So it had one of my language arts bookmarks I made for him because he needs to refer to the editing notes a lot. And so I double-sided this one, and then, I don't know if you can see it, it's a sentence editing. This, I usually we keep right here so you can pull it out as needed. And then you just take the planner, right, say whatever week they were on, so they can see what they need to do that day. Ta-da! Right? And we use the book stand. We actually use the book stands a ton. Like every kid uses them for something. I feel like right now, Bo doesn't have a planner because he's in kindergarten, but we do a lot of drawing and things from books, so we're constantly, you know, opening up a book to what I want him to be able to look at while we're working on something or drawing something out of it, and it's always going in the book stand. So I don't know, this is like one of those things that just has made, it's just been so functional and helpful. Ta-da. And then it makes it a lot easier, like when I want to clean up the table, I just pick this one thing up and take it off, and it's a lot. I don't have to pick up like a million things. Okay. Anyways, that's all. I thought that might be helpful for anybody who's like trying to set up a nice workstation. So still staying in the vein of planning, let me talk to you a little bit about how our science curriculum is going with the Apologia courses. Will is in the 3rd grade, and so he's doing astronomy. I have the 2nd edition. I'll show you how it works. So he made a bookmark the first day. So I bookmark the front of the notebooks. The instructions on what to do every day are in their notebooks, and this is super helpful. So I put the actual, like, what date it was gonna be. I can rip out these sheets and use them as part of my record, like my notes, and I don't necessarily plan on keeping the whole notebook, although I may, because I don't know if I'm gonna like re-buy this notebook for Bo. I may just use this as like a guide and just have him notebook in a regular like spiral notebook. So it's like daily assignments. So day 1 was make creation confirmation bookmark. We did that. So everything in the notebook that you're going to do in the notebook is marked in blue, and everything that's in the textbook is marked in green. So I will say it's not an independent, at this age anyways, it's not an independent thing that he can just do. Like I read the pages to him. Right, so I'm like reading from the textbook to him, and then I tell him what to do in the notebook. There are little activities. So like we did this one. It says you will need a magnifying glass, an inch pad of butter, a paper plate, and a sunny day. So we went outside and we melted some butter. Like we saw how the lens focused light. Yeah, we like it, but it is something that I have to do with him more. I'm gonna keep using this. It's working fine. It doesn't take too long. The nice thing is about homeschool is like you can set an amount of time and just work for as long as you have. This is set up to be 4 days a week. So we do, 6 days of school. So I can make them shorter. If we don't get to everything, it's fine. I've got like 2 other days at my disposal. You know what I mean? Okay, and then a general science for Everett. So this is the first year Everett we've used them. Apologia for Science, and like I said, Everett's 7th grade. This is the 3rd edition. I really wanted to get something that had labs or experiments in it because Everett is a really hands-on kid, and I couldn't just tell him to do just more reading and like writing. He does that so much already. I was like, he needs something else. So look at the notebook came with it, was super big. And again, so I thought this would be good that this was, and I bought the kit. There's a kit, I think it was like a little more than $100. And it came and it has almost everything. Like there's some things you'll need every once in a while. Like we had one the other day that asked, like it needed lemon juice. Again, I just marked with like a little tab the suggested daily schedule. Things like this. Right? And so he's supposed to get in here and look, like it says module 1. I think that's basically like chapter 1, but they call them modules. Text, read pages 1 to 5, and then do notebook pages 21 to 23. So what I would have him do is I would have him, and again, it's a 4-day-a-week plan. And so I would have him check off when he did those things, and then I would go back and just make sure they were done, and I would give the big check. I also bought the audiobook so that he could listen as he reads along. I just thought that would be, I thought that would stop him from spacing off. You know, like they kind of get tired. Like science is like one of the last subjects we would do in the day. I feel like he gets kind of tired and kind of spaces off. So I was like, we'll give him the audiobook that will help him stay engaged. And I think it actually does for him. If you have a kid that tends to like be dreamy, you might consider an audiobook. Anyway, so how's it going? I don't have time to check like every single thing that every single child does every single day, right? And I don't want to. I want to check maybe at the end of the week. Like I might just pick up, you know, his notebook and skim through it so that I could do the big checkoffs. Now you'll see that's what all of these little things, where are all those little red tags sticking out? Well, those are all the places where he had missed stuff. So for example, all right, so I marked this page. Like he just, for some reason he had missed, this was blank. He hadn't done one. He hadn't filled out this at all. He had skipped over this graphic organizer thing. He hadn't done this activity. He just skipped right over it. And it may just be because he's not used to it, but I've noticed this with other things too. He does not read everything on the page. He does more of a, he looks at it and he just, I don't know what his brain, I don't know exactly what's happening, but he doesn't read every single line on a page. And I think he looks for familiar, like that looks like something to read, like this, but this doesn't look like something, like this looked like something to read, so he read that, but that didn't look like something to read, that just looked like a picture, so he just skipped over it. He just like didn't even read that, you know? Same with this page, like he had filled in those and this, but he hadn't done this. Sometimes I think things that look like this, they look pulled out, it's like in a different font. It looked to him kind of just like a caption, and he just skipped over it. So I don't know, there's something to do with that. See, he kind of did it again, like on this page. He filled out these fill in the blanks, but then he totally skipped over that he didn't read this line and saw that he was supposed to do something in here. So I don't know, I think part of it is it's just that it's new to him and he's not used to the format, and it changes. Like every day is a little bit different and the pages don't all look the same. Now some kids, that might be a plus for them, like they like the variety, but I think that it's just like his brain is, it's just being efficient. It's looking for patterns that it's used to, and not like it takes effort to like this is different. I've got to like read every single line, and you can't skip over anything. And so yeah, I just think his brain isn't trained for this kind of constantly changing format. I mean, since I'm not overly concerned really about him doing every single thing. You know, we're just required to do science in our state, and I wanted him to have a Christian worldview based science curriculum, and I wanted him to have something that had labs. I was kind of stressing about it, and it made, but I want to remove, he's only in 7th grade, you know, like, he's got time. I was talking to another homeschool mom friend about it the other day, and she was like, just don't, because she has one that's older than Everett, so she's had one that's gone through this age group. First of all, she said, don't worry, like, she noticed with her oldest that when they turned about 15, that it was like a light went on, and they started getting much more motivated to do well in school. But she's like, yeah, at that age, they weren't. Like, they didn't care at all. they were being obedient, and they were doing their schoolwork, you know, because we were telling them, because she was telling them to, but they weren't really interested or like really trying to do well. So I found that encouraging. She also reminded me, like, they'll come across this information. It's not like this is their one chance in life to learn general science. I was like, that's true, right? Like, the sciences build, all the courses build on each other, or, you know, the scientific method goes across all of the curriculum, science curriculum. So, I mean, he'll see it over and over. So that was comforting. Anyways, so I just decided that I wasn't going to stress about it. I'm not going to tell, I think I'm not going to tell him this, but I'm not going to make him go back and fill in all of if he misses something. If he misses it, he misses it. That's fine. I'm going to take a glance in there to see if he's like doing anything. But if his brain didn't register that he was supposed to do something there, oh well. Like, he did read the text, like, he did do something, and I know he'll do the labs. So he loves the labs. He loves the hands-on stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna let that go a little bit and be more relaxed about the notebook, and just whatever he gets done in here is fine. I'm gonna kind of impose the RC method onto my Apologia science. So with Everett, with my oldest, because his days are just seeming to get too long, and I am going to use the reading time to, you know, like you would usually do with RC, because they have you cover all the subjects just during the reading time. So I think that we could up his reading time to 2 hours now, but I'll just split 1 hour of that will be devoted to reading his science. We're just going to keep it within that time, and then the other hour will be the other book that he's reading. So right now he's reading a Henty book, and I think it's in Mexico with Cortez, and he is going to be doing the general science for the other half of the reading, because they would be reading books that covered science during their reading time anyways. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna split the reading time between those two things. Okay, so so this is what I'm thinking through. His day is gonna be like, it's gonna start out, I'm actually starting him out with his reading time, because I know that in RC they typically would do reading last and I say do math first. I have my own reasons why I'm not why I'm not going to do it in this order. But I'll tell you the order I'm going to do it in. He's going to start out with his reading his Henty book for 1 hour, and then he does his little journaling, you know, on it. That takes, you know, it should only take about 5 minutes to fill in his reading journal. Then he's going to switch over to his Apologia. He's going to be setting his timer. So I showed you that was on his book stand. He uses this like constantly to keep us on track with the RC, because I can't keep track of everybody's times. So he's got his timer. He'll set it for 1 hour, read his Henty book, do his reading journal, set it for another hour, do his science time, do his science reading, and he's gonna just kind of have to learn to manage his own time, because it's not just straight reading, right? Like, there's reading, and then there's like notebooking, and then there's reading, and there's notebooking. He's gonna have to think, like, do I have time to do my experiment? So if he comes to an experiment, he might need to say that I need to do that tomorrow during my science reading time. Okay, second, he does math, because we're doing Right Start Math, and it's parent-led, but it doesn't take very long. So after he does his 2 hours of reading, right, where he's covering basically, right now it's a history book, a history topic, a historical novel, and then his science textbook. He's gonna do Right Start Math with me. That's teacher led, and then when we're done with the lesson, we're done with the lesson, and it doesn't take an hour. It doesn't. Like, you know, RC is usually a 2 hour, you can do 2 hours of math. It's not going to take 2 hours, much less time. Then he has, because he does have vocabulary to do on his own, so he's going to do vocabulary. We don't use the RC vocabulary, so we're using Wordly Wise. He's going to do that. It does not take very long. Just when he's done, then he is currently doing writing and rhetoric. We kind of did these out of order. We started on book 3, and then we decided just to do all of them. So we went back to books 1, and he's almost done with book 2. I did buy a used set, the teacher edition, so I have to do this with him. But I can do other things while we do it. We do, like, I'm usually working on something of my own, and so while he's doing his, like, I'm like, okay, do this, do that, and while he's doing his writing, I'm kind of like reading whatever book I'm reading, or working in my planner, or, you know, making you guys a student planner for your kids, you know, stuff like that. And then here's the student workbook, and again, I got a used one, and I just erased all the writing that was in it. So he has that one, but I actually just have him write in a composition notebook. He's almost done with this. But you know, then when he's done with writing, I always check it, because we're checking for all his grammar and punctuation and things like that. I want to make sure that that's correct. I would like to do a separate video, probably more in depth, on writing and rhetoric. So if you want to see a more in-depth writing and rhetoric review and like flip through and stuff like that, and my thoughts on that more specifically, just leave me a comment, writing and rhetoric, or, you know, WR. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, the last thing in my pile. Okay, so that helped me. See, just talking through this to you is helping me, like, helping me formulate my plan that I'll put into my planning video that I'm gonna make right after this. Okay, the last thing I'm thinking through today is, so Bo finished my second copybook. We didn't do my first copybook because we basically covered all of that in preschool, but I do have my first copybook. I've made those. And then I was just going to show you, I did have to print out, you know, more pages and put it in here. So when I told him he was done with this book, he filled in this copybook, he's getting a new one. He was so excited to show this to my husband when he got home from work. He was so excited. He wanted to show him all his work. He's like, Dad, I'm doing so well in school. That's what he told him. And he was so proud. So it's nice, it gives them something that they can look back on and something that they can show to people. And so I actually think I'm gonna like let him keep this so he can always refer back to it and feel proud, you know, of his work. But let me show you some of the stuff in there. Before we started, I would have him find me. I would give him a sound like ah, right, and have him find it, and then have him try to, you know, trace it and write it. And then we would do the lesson, and then we would do the sound writing afterwards. So they had them practicing A's and M's from the book. So I just wrote them in with like a highlighter or either like a colored pencil, and he could like trace and write his own. We ended up doing a lot of phonics bingo. So I could play that with him, or he could play it with his, if William was available, he would play with him. I'll show you. So here's one they were playing phonics bingo. I would just use the flashcards that you print out with this book. I printed them on cardstock. And so I would say a sound. I would look at the card and say what sound, and then, or all the sounds of that phonogram, and then they would try to find it, and they would either write it, and see, I'd give them, like, Bo was green and William was purple, and then we would just try to get 3 in a row. I think we eventually got up to 4 in a row. You can see at first I was reminding them that, like, Y had 4 sounds. Y, I, E, right? E has E, and I. That's what the 3 dots means. It means that's how many sounds are associated with that symbol. Eventually I just took those off. I was just reminding them. Oh, we did a lot, okay, so for math, on the math page, we did a lot of race to 100 at the beginning, just to practice his counting to 100 and recognizing numbers. So I would race him. We would just get a die out and roll it and move that many spaces, and then we would trace whatever we landed on in our color. Then we did, and then we were also following along in the Number Stories book, which we are almost all the way done with it. The flashcards that come with these copybooks that I was just printing out. So now that we're into the next book, so I printed pink for the ones for copy work are copybook 2, and then the blue are for copywork. The blue cards came with copybook 3, and now they're just combined because I'm still going to continue to review those. He's still seeing them in 100 Easy Lessons. These are like, definitely we're previewing. These are a lot of blends and glued sounds from Alphaphonics. So we're just gonna preview them. It's gonna be fine. We ran into they started talking about money, like coins, in our Number Stories book. So I just did a bunch of pages that I got from, was it education.com? These ones I made. This one is one I made. I was just introducing the coins. I think this printout comes with the copybooks, and I just like pasted. We just pasted a lot of stuff in, which is fun because he liked cutting and using the glue stick or whatever. We traced money, we introduced it, but then I ended up getting to, oh yeah, these ones. I got a bunch of these from I think education.com. I'll link where I found them in the description box. So we did like a whole little coin unit. We got out coins. It was fun. We learned how to add money. We practiced with adding the money, and we would use this side, the hundreds chart, to be like, I'll show you one. Here's one he really liked doing these. There was a bunch of them like this, where they would have the coins, and then I'd say like, how much is the dime worth? You know, it's worth 10. You know, plus 1, plus 10. And then he'd pick a different color for each answer. And then he would use the hundreds chart. Like he would say, oh, we're starting on, if we're starting on the number 10, so you can see there's like, what number we used, you can see there's some yellow in there because this is how I use a different pencil color for each problem. And he enjoyed, I'm like, okay, pick out 6 different colored pencils. That would be the first thing we'd do. Okay. Then we'd work on this one together. I just gave him little boxes to write the answers in. Then he would find one here. I'd be like, okay, start with, write 10, right? And then plus, then what are we gonna add? 1, and then plus 10 more is, and he'd find the answer on here, and then he'd write it here, and then he'd use that matching colored pencil to draw a line with the ruler to the answer on the other side. So it was really fun. It didn't take very long, but having the different colors kept us from getting confused over which ones we had circled, like what number we were on the number chart. And he liked having that sense of control of picking. He got to pick the colors, and so then when he was done with that yellow, I'd put that throw that one back away. I'm like, okay, pick another color. Letting him he liked having those choices that he could do on his own, and he really liked learning to use the ruler. He really enjoyed that. The other component we had on here was the read me a story page. I would just read to him. This is how I do this part. We're working on listening comprehension, really, is I would read to him. First I read to him from our fairy tales book. And then I'm in the middle of reading Brambly Hedge to him. But we'd read part of the story. The Brambly Hedge is a little longer. So I could read a full fairy tale. It was usually just like 1 page, and have him do a tell back. Like, okay, can you tell it back to me? And he would tell me back the story, which is pretty funny. And then he'd draw a picture. Usually I'd let him look, not usually, I'd let him look at the illustrations, and he could like copy them, or he could draw something from his own memory. He'd tend to like to kind of look at the illustrations and kind of draw with something similar to what they drew. And then, I could say, oh, can you tell me about what you drew? And they can tell me a little bit more about the story. Here's one he drew from Brambly Hedge. We're starting the sea story. And it's funny because his boat, he definitely drew the ark. He definitely drew Noah's Ark. which is funny because I think that's like what we had talked about on church on Sunday. But it's a boat. I was like, okay. And I was like, did you draw Noah's Ark? That doesn't look like their boat in Brambly Hedge. She's like, no, that is their boat in Brambly Hedge. I was like, okay. And then for like science, I just used, we've been going through the Berenstain Bear Big Book of Science. And then I had these science activities that I compiled to go along with it. And I'll link those down below for you. So a lot of times, if it was something that, like an activity we were doing, I would just have him cut out the illustration, the picture that I'd given on those sheets, and like the instructions, and we would just paste it in for our record that's what we did. But there were also some days that we just did kind of like note taking. I'll show you. You can just do simple stuff like this. Like sometimes we just wanted to watch a video or read from the Berenstain Bear book. So this day we were talking about simple machines. So we read those pages. I recorded what we read, the date, and then I just gave little squares or rectangles for him. And he just basically, you know, this one is the wedge, the wheel, and the lever, right? And I asked a little question and he told me the answer. I wrote it in. I mean, you can just kind of do stuff as you go, but that's what that blank page is for, is like whatever we're going to do for either science or social studies or life skills. That's what I'll put on that page. Anyways, he did the whole thing. Let's see. Do you want to see how his handwriting ended up looking at the end? Oh, sometimes we do stuff like this. Right, I use the actual math page that I provided. And so this day I was checking his counting to 100 like all on his own. He got them all. He knows the greater than, less than, equal to signs, so we did some of those based on the book. And we did that one. This was like the last day we were in this book, and so I introduced the abacus. I wanted you to see that his handwriting is getting better. See, this is by lesson 36 in 100 Easy Lessons. Well, that's my handwriting. I was giving him the model, but I just took a pencil and he could trace one, write one, trace one, write one, right? And then I just tell him to circle the ones that he thought were best, so that's why those ones are circled, and show them to me when he's done. And he's really proud of himself, so. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to just make your own curriculum and work through it. I want to show you some of my favorite activities that we did, how they turned out in here. I love it. I love looking back at this stuff. We also have, we did work on the +1, -1 flashcards for math. But now that we're moving on to the second book, so now I've added it together with the +2, -2 flashcards. Right, and we are going to start working with these with the abacus. I guess this video is getting super long. I'll do a separate video on updating you on how the my third copy work is going with the kindergarten curriculum. I just wanted to let you know that we are moving on to my third copybook. Well, I hope any of this information was helpful to you and that you're having a great homeschooled week. Get your planning done if you're a planner. Check out that planner if you're interested in your kids having one. And I will talk to you soon.